Hello, everyone, and welcome back to NIL Edge, the show where the people shaping the future of NIL pull back the curtain and share some inside scoops and inside details on how things are moving at the ground level. Each episode, we spotlight real-world strategies and challenges from voices across the entire NCAA. This can be general managers, NIL directors, brand leaders, and other innovators pushing the conversation forward in NIL. Our goal is to share success stories and create a centralized and trusted resource for NIL strategy, education, and alignment. And honestly, we hope to be a fun listen with it too. The show is produced in partnership with NIL Newsstand and Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern. I'm your host, Sterling Randall. I'd previously worked in collegiate athletics as an SID, and now I work with brands and organizations at the intersection of sports and strategy. I help them navigate change, tell their stories, protect their reputations, and help athletes, schools, and brands in the sports space connect with fans in meaningful ways. I'm really excited for today's episode. We are going to be talking with Collin Stoecker from Boise State, and I'm, again, so very excited. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are with Collin Stoecker, the Assistant Athletic Director for BroncoPro at Boise State. Collin is a nationally recognized NIL leader, and before bolstering things in Boise with BroncoPro, he helped Western Kentucky scale athlete-focused programs and brand partnerships. And before that, he worked at Notre Dame in various roles, the last one being the coordinator for the Gold Center. Collin, thank you for joining us, and how the heck are you?
Doing good, man. I appreciate you having me on today and letting us talk about what we're doing here. Fired up to be here and excited to talk.
I am really excited too. During our conversation that we had earlier this week or late last week, whatever it was, the stuff that, the preview that we got of what BroncoPro is doing before we started doing our research was absolutely incredible. And I've been thinking about it ever since. So let's just jump right into that. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background. Tell us how you got to Boise and how you got working in the NIL space.
Yeah, so former student athlete, went to the University of Notre Dame, played baseball, had a unique story, got to school and immediately essentially tore my shoulder up, had to have double reconstructive rotator cuff surgery within a year and a half, kind of had to figure out what I was going to do with life. So started helping my teammates, got in the community engagement space, taking them out to local kindergartens and giving back to the community, which was awesome. And from that, earned a job at Notre Dame overseeing community outreach for the 26 sports there in the Gold Center and working through that. Had the opportunity then to go to Western Kentucky and kind of start their student athlete development program from scratch. And then along with that, picked up their NIL program as well and oversaw the day-to-day operations there of working through helping the student athletes grow their brands and think about NIL as kind of a career development experience for each of them and how do we take the transferable skills that we learn from being a student athlete working in the NIL space and get ready for that job in the next step of life. And then was lucky enough, Cody here at Boise State reached out and was able to bring me into this BroncoPro team and what they've created here and have been so lucky in the structure that was created by Cody and Jeremiah for the success that we've seen early now. And I guess this is entering my fourth month here. We've seen a lot of success early, and it's because of the structure and things that are in place here at Boise State to set our student athletes up for success. So excited to be here with BroncoPro. BroncoPro stands for Professional Resources Organization. So we are setting our student athletes up for success in the NIL space. Kind of three different buckets that we oversee. One is our kind of our franchise piece, which is the revenue sharing component of what we're doing. Exciting times as we now paying our student athletes, which is really cool. The second piece is we call it authentic NIL or the brands deals. So how do we equip our student athletes with the ability to go out to the market and sell themselves, whether that's through our onboarding process and our education and teaching elevator pitches, getting them ready there, while also my team is out selling on behalf of the student athletes and finding deals for them there too. And then the final bucket that we oversee is our financial education and literacy, partnering with our Bronco Life team, helping our student athletes be prepared to pay their taxes, to be prepared to save, invest, and then give back like nobody else to ensure that they feel confident when they step into the NIL space to know what they need to do with that newfound earnings that they have. So the structure that was created by Cody and Jeremiah and the BroncoPro team it's tremendous, and it has allowed us, and as I arrived here, to just sprint and find success there.
So BroncoPro launched a little bit before you got there, just a few months before. So, you've been able to be there from the get-go. What have been some of the challenges that you guys have gone through by growing this? What are some of the things that you want to do? What are the things, what are some of your guys' short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Tell us just a little bit more about BroncoPro.
Yeah, so I think our tagline and our goal that we want to be the most student athlete friendly NIL program in the country. So we want our resources to be accessible by every student athlete that has any interest in working in the NIL space, to understand, where do I start? What do I need to do to find early success, and how do I build off of that and continue to grow? So I think one of our goals, that kind of our North Stars that we look at each day, is we want every student athlete to have an opportunity that is interested to have an NIL deal put in front of them during their time with us. So I think that's a cool thing of, like, we're focused across the board on increasing opportunities for our student athletes. And then another focus of ours is retention, of making the experience of being a Boise State student athlete the best in the country, so that when you get here, you understand that you feel supported, you have a team around you that is here to help you and be successful. That you would never, like, you get here and this is where you want to be for the rest of your career, and you want to be a Bronco for life and enjoy the experience of being here. So I think it comes with my staff in that kind of customer service that we're offering to our student athletes, and then also offering to our local national partners and businesses that we work with, to ensure that the phrase that we always use is mutually beneficial. So we want these partnerships between our student athletes and our businesses to be mutually beneficial. Early in NIL, there could be a lot of asks that were, hey, we need you to help our student athletes. Like, the way that we're approaching the market is that we want to ensure that the student athlete and the business are seeing true returns on this, and we're very data focused in how we go about this, to show true numbers of, hey, this is what you paid for, and this is the return that you're getting, and then helping the student athlete be data focused on, hey, this is the growth that we saw during the work with you here. We want to continue to work forward from there.
So I'm fairly familiar with Boise and the state of Idaho, having grown up in Utah. Boise is interesting because it's obviously, one of the bigger, if not the biggest town in the whole entire state, and being the major FBS school in the state, there's a lot of eyes on Boise State. What has been, like, the community reaction or the state reaction to BroncoPro? Has starting this program helped grow even more business interests for the athletic department and for the athletes?
Yeah, I think Cody says it best on our team, that look at ourselves as the biggest show in town. It's really cool to see that and see the support across the board. We have our first home football game this Friday night, and I'm so excited to be there on the Blue. And obviously the Blue is kind of it's a national figure. I think it just won another award for the best sports attraction in the United States. So we have a lot of things going for us here, and we have a strong community support across the board. It's awesome to see the buy-in. And again, like, NIL is continual education for our student athletes, for businesses, of the best practices and the best way to operate. I think it's been really cool to see the openness and willingness of businesses to hear us out, talk with our program, talk with our student athletes on how that they might be able to provide those mutually beneficial results back to them. So the support continues to be tremendous across the board, and we're excited to continue to grow. And I think a continued focus for us is, how do we get as many businesses involved with Boise State athletics, whether it is in the NIL space, whether it is in other opportunities, whether it's through Bronco Sports Properties, and the other opportunities that we have out there that are coming. So I think that long and short there, I think the support is tremendous. And our student athletes, again, feel that embrace of our community when you get to Boise State, which is cool. And we talk about when you become a Boise State student athlete, you have a platform that you're on, and how are we going to use that platform to make a difference and make a change? And I think one of the coolest stories that we have this year is so Kinsey McMillan from our soccer team signed a deal with RM Soap Market. I think that was so cool to see that she signed a deal and got passionate about what their mission is, which is helping special needs individuals in our community. And she set up a program with all of her other NIL sponsors that she has, and through that has now raised, I think it's up over $16,000 for the special needs community. So again, it's a really cool example of like she's a fifth-year senior, has felt the embrace of Boise and Boise State in our community here, and has now pivoted her NIL into a way of how does she give back with her final year here. So we have a special community, and we have a special group of support that has been tremendous that I've seen even in just my first 3 to 4 months here.
So it's interesting that you bring up that example, because obviously we have like a fifth-year senior. We have somebody that gets it, right? They've been through it. They understand it. They for all intents and purposes, they have grown up. They've been through the lumps and bumps of college. They've probably had, good things and bad things happen to them, and they understand life a little bit more. What's it like, when you are a freshman at Boise State and you're a Bronco student athlete? How do you explain to these 18, 19-year-olds how to brand themselves? As an 18 or 19-year-old, I would have been horrible at that. So how do you explain that to them and show them the benefits of it while they are also like busy being students, right? They're going to classes. They are, they're trying to have a social life. They're going to practice. They're working out. And then you guys also have this opportunity to be like, hey, you can also earn money too. How do you where does that process start on showing an 18 or 19-year-old freshman student athlete how to properly brand and market themselves?
Yeah, so I think it starts in the recruiting process is when we're talking to these student athletes. I think the quote that I like to use is that we keep the main thing the main thing. We want to be a champion in the sport that we're playing. We want to be a champion in the classroom. So our goal here is to win championships and earn a degree. And then from that, how do we grow a brand that aligns with your values? And I think we've done a really we've really pressed hard to make sure that through our education and the things that we're doing, one of the first things that we do when we start talking NIL is a session with our Bronco Life team on what are your values, and try to understand the values and what drives you to be you, and help them grow their brand from that level of, hey, here's what I truly believe in, here's what I'm passionate about, and from there, let's grow a brand that showcases those values through the stories that we tell on your social media channels. So I think having that collaboration here has been so strong and helpful for us, and we do this through an onboarding period when our student athletes return to campus. So we did one for our summer sports and we did one for our fall sports, and again, some of the things we talked through there. What are your values? What do you believe in? We talk through your social media and what is the story that you're putting out there? Are you being consistent with it? Does it align with those things that you said you truly are passionate about and you believe in? And we truly believe in that you shouldn't be signing deals just to sign a deal. It should be things that you actively believe in and you trust and that you use and different types of things there. So I think that helps grow the brand and give a really strong baseline for what we're trying to do is understanding who you are. And we talk about if your goal is to grow your revenue, we have to understand what is our story. So what is the story of us? What is your personal story? We then have to tell that story. So we have to be active and consistently kind of message ourselves out there. We have to do that consistently. We have to own our moments. Which when we have success, whether it's on the field, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's through another deal, like we have to own those big moments and tell the story of those moments. And then we frame it as growing, kind of growing your legacy, which growing your legacy is telling your story based in your values and owning your moments consistently over time. So if you are able to build your legacy by doing those first three things there, then you will then have an opportunity to grow your revenue. But we really base ourselves in our values and our ability to tell the story of who we are, and then look at those future earning opportunities as something that's going to come with it down the line.
To me, it sounds like you guys really instill like the why in the student athletes when understanding this. Are there any common misconceptions that the student athletes have? You brought it up in the middle when you were explaining it there. Or do student athletes come on and they're like, I'm a student athlete, I'm at Boise State, no disrespect to the Idaho Steelheads, but they're like, we're the only show in town. People should be like paying me money right off the get-go. Like what are the misconceptions that the athletes have when it comes to getting their NIL started?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a process. So like we talk about, we focus on a day-to-day basis. What is your process to get to that last finish line of, hey, I've earned an NIL opportunity? So I think we try to, as our student athletes come in, help them understand that how do we build this in a way that we're not looking for one deal, we're not looking for two deals. Like we're looking for a sustained growth that hopefully will lead to at least a supplemental income in the next part of your life. So if we build a brand that is powerful enough to do that, that you will then have success down the line. But there is a process to get there, and the process starts by building your brand, telling your story, being consistent with that. And I think one of the hardest things that we work through with our student athletes is the consistency that they are putting themselves out there through their content. So we have such a focus early on in helping our student athletes understand, hey, what are the types of content that I would create? What do they align with my values? Am I proud? Am I happy to put this out there and be there? And working through different platforms and things. I think I have had a meeting this morning focusing on that emotional connection of the difference between I can put 20 videos on TikTok and be happy with it, and like the emotional the emotions that it takes to hit send when you're posting on Instagram. I've seen it now at two different schools be a lot for student athletes. So helping them separate some of those emotions out. And we truly talk to our student athletes about looking at themselves as a business and looking at, hey, my personal brand is it's a vertical of my business that I need to grow to increase my opportunities. So if you look at it that way, then, hey, the social media and the storytelling, the different pieces there, that's just part of what I have to do to grow my business. And then we work through together from there of what is our plan to grow that. And again, we want that emotion and passion and things to come through it, but we don't want you to be again scared to post or hesitant to post. Like if it's truly who you are, like own your brand, own who you are, and put it out there and go for it, and be bold in the story that you're telling of yourself.
Coming at it from the brand side, what are some misconceptions that brands or companies that want to work with student athletes, what are some misconceptions that they have when starting, whether it's a company that has other NIL deals maybe nationally, or maybe it's a local company? What are some challenges or misconceptions that they have when trying to work with student athletes?
There's so many different ways that a student athlete can provide value back to the business. I think we see the commercial shoots and you see some of the social media posts, but I think the different ways that you can incorporate a student athlete into your marketing strategy, I think that businesses might not fully understand all the different opportunities out there. And I think that's where our staff comes in, is that can we help educate businesses on the different opportunities to work with our student athletes? We talked with a business this week. They host a children's night at a restaurant. It's like, hey, would it be valuable to have a student athlete there to celebrate with the kids there? We talked through appearances. We talked through, we did a billboard shoot this week, and understanding, hey, it's a different amount of eyes that are going, that understanding that from social media, but there's still a ton of value to having a student athlete on a billboard. So I think where our staff comes in is just meeting the business where they're at, understanding their marketing needs, and then how can we slot a student athlete in there to help you and get you connected back to that massive Boise State brand. And our Bronco Sports Properties team have done such a tremendous job of setting our corporate sponsors up for success in the NIL space. And then as our team has gone out and explored other businesses and opportunities, I think it's been really cool to see everyone's openness to trying different things. There's no one way to do NIL, and there's no one student athlete solution to use. I think that's what's cool is of our 375 student athletes, every brand is different, and every brand offers a different following. It offers a different type of content. And some of our most successful student athletes fall in different sports. We have a women's soccer player, Tambry Bell, who sits above 90,000 followers. I think she's at like 89,000 on TikTok. We had Nora from beach volleyball last year who went viral on our social media page and has had success in working with brands from there. We've got a softball student athlete Sophia Romero, who's done tremendous things and has a famous family and has really built her brand on her connection to her family and telling the softball story and baseball story that lives within her family. So I think there's so many different ways that a business can work with a student athlete. It's just helping them get there and understanding what the potential and opportunities would be.
What are some of those ways that you guys, so obviously a business can come in and they may or may not know, maybe they don't know themselves entirely. So what are some of the tools or what are some of the strategies that you guys use to say like, oh, you want this and sure, we're here, we can give you A, but what I actually think you really want is maybe a combination of B and C and D, or maybe it's something else. What do you guys do? Yeah. Who do you like? How do you have that conversation with them, and what do you use to help them understand what they might need, even though they think they need something else?
Yeah, so I mean, our team does an evaluation and kind of looks at. We start with social media and see where the team is with that, and see if we could add value there. We understand the different businesses of hey, do you have high foot traffic? Would it be valuable to have a student athlete? We did a deal earlier this year with Slim Chickens, where we had 4 different student athletes work the drive-through, and it was valuable to have. As Boise State fans came in, they had a Bronco handing them their food in the drive-through. So a really creative thing like that. So again, we're really data focused, especially on the social media side, to say, hey, like this is where your social media team is. Using the apps and things that we have, we can truly even give a projection to a business by, hey, working with athlete A, this is the projected number of impressions. This is the projected number of engagements that you're going to see by having this student athlete work with you, just based off of the different brand content that they've done in the past. So being very data focused, it kind of gets black and white in the area of like, hey, this is the true benefits that we can provide back to you. Again, in understanding their marketing needs, and they might not be a social media based company, and they might be more that in person or connecting. And we've even looked at opportunities of, can a student athlete run a camp on behalf of a company? And we're looking at that here. We've got 4 golf student athletes coming up that's going to help with a clinic on behalf of the company, and looking at that. And we just have such strong individuals, just really good people here, and we have such a strong culture that our athletes add value by just being in the space of others. So I think that's something that we can offer here at Boise State, of just our athletes do a tremendous job of being in with others and connecting with people. But again, we're evaluating by case basis on how do we help these businesses be successful and meet their goals and needs.
So obviously you're very social media based. Does that go back to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if my research was incorrect. So after your playing career wrapped up at Notre Dame, you moved into helping out with social for the baseball team, correct?
Correct.
And yeah. I know a lot of the things that I saw, you were very, very database with how much, and they were really impressive numbers with how much you're able to grow accounts at different spots in Notre Dame that you touched. So I guess what started your, not reliance, but what started your, or like what gave you the drive to put the importance that you have on social media?
Yeah, I mean, I think from after I got hurt, I had to find a way to give back. And I gave back at Notre Dame by, one, getting my teammates into the community and understanding like this is bigger than us. I think that was a huge point. But on the social media side, like if I couldn't go out and compete, telling the stories of my teammates and the cool things that they were doing and showcasing them, that got me fired up and out of bed every morning to go help them. And I think it was cool getting to run a large scale brand account like that. So shout out to my team at Notre Dame that our comms team that trusted a 19-year-old to go and take a major account and have some freedom with it, which was really cool to see. They really let me run and have some excitement there, which was cool. And we had some success there of growing that Notre Dame baseball account. And now it's, again, I've taken some of the data and the things that I learned as I was running a social account. And then as I told some stories through the Gold Center account at Notre Dame, and then the Hilltopper Climb program at Western Kentucky, and learning through some of those things, and then seeing some of these student athletes that I've worked with in the past who have had tremendous success. So understanding how they operate and the things that they do. So, I mean, going back to Tambry Bell, Tambry posts around 2 times a day, every day, 7 days a week on TikTok. There's a reason that she has 89,000 followers. It's because she works really hard at it. Going back to Kinley Newcomb at Western Kentucky, she was the #1 brand in women's college soccer because she worked hard at what she did. So learning from these individuals and these student athletes, I try to take away every individual that I meet with from a student athlete side is what's something that we can look at that you're doing, that you're having success with, that we can then share to other student athletes. And again, grow the opportunity for everybody here. But no, I think social media is such a cool way to tell your story, and you have control on it. You just have to be actively participating in the process and being consistent in what you're going out there, because we talk through it can get so hard when life gets hard, when school gets hard, when your sport gets hard. The first thing to go is probably your content strategy and what you're posting out there. So how do we set you up for success with a plan to be prepared for when that happens, so that we have either banked content, we have a designated time in the week, we're scheduling out different periods to be prepared. I think that's what we work with our student athletes on in the off season of like, hey, can you create 10, 15, 20 extra pieces of content during this off season? So when life gets hard, it is banked and it's going out no matter what you're doing. So there's a piece of it of living in the moment and making sure you're staying up with trends. And there's also a piece of the Bronco head carrying value whenever you put it out there, and being prepared for those moments when life gets hard.
Tell me a little bit more about that process. Who is in these meetings? Is it compliance? Is it communications? Is it marketing? Is it just you? Who's having those conversations with those student athletes when you, again, are explaining? And it goes back to what you've talked about with BroncoPro. And obviously it's not like a one-time thing or a one-time meeting that you're having with them. Who is who's explaining these to them? Walk us through that process a little bit more.
Yeah, so our onboard, well, I'll start with our BroncoPro team. Our BroncoPro team has someone from just about every department sitting on it, whether it's compliance, we have our business office, we have our leadership team. We have people across the department that sit in on that meeting. So it is truly a collaborative effort across our department and what we're doing. For those onboarding meetings, that is a really special partnership that we have with Bronco Life, our student athlete development team, that we're delivering those messages jointly. So again, we truly, and my belief is that NIL is true career development, and it's the best type of career development because you have true expectations and deliverables you have to meet, and deadlines and ways you have to operate as an 18 to 22-year-old. So we approach our businesses with that as well, and understanding that, hey, like, this is a contract and there are expectations, but this is also a learning opportunity for our student athletes, for you, to work through that process. But I think the collaboration that we have with our student athlete development department to deliver education in a way early on when our student athletes first return to campus, and then those follow-up meetings, one-on-one meetings, I think they're so important with our staff. I've spent a lot of time yesterday working through those with our student athletes as people have questions, if people have interest, answering questions that they might have. Again, we try to be as accessible as we can to be to our student athletes, to provide that premier customer service. They feel like, hey, when I need help, I know who to go to. I go to the BroncoPro office. We're here to assist you and make you feel as confident. And I think a lot of those individual meetings, I try to be the student athlete's biggest cheerleader when they're coming out, because sometimes they're right on the edge of doing something special and creating a piece of content that's going to help them, and they just need that little push forward and say, you can do this. So I work with them to be like, I am their biggest cheerleader, supporter. I take their posts that they're putting out there, I'll send it back to them and say, yes, this is what we're looking for. I'm proud of you. And again, we try to do follow-ups as well. So it's not just a hanging meeting like we met and what do I do from here? We try to let's make a plan, go attack it for 2 to 4 weeks, and then come back and let's evaluate, look at the data, look at what you've done, and can we make adjustments? What worked, what didn't work, and help them through that process. So again, it's a multi-touch system to where we're ensuring that we're meeting them where they're at, getting them that kind of storming education at the beginning, when following up in those individual needs that they need throughout time.
I'll give you some props here. When I was doing research and all the photos that I was looking at of you, honestly, if you didn't know that you worked in NIL, you would think that you were an assistant coach with how many photos there are of you involved with the student athletes. And it's like, whoa, is this guy is he the director of basketball ops? Is he a volleyball assistant coach? You were all over the place. So I wanted to make sure to give you your props there with the level of involvement that you've had. With these programs, obviously, like you just said, it takes a village, right? So what? And everyone's busy. Everyone has their own, compliance has their own thing going on. Marketing has their own thing going on. Communications has their own thing going on. What advice would you give to other programs that are trying to build other cross-departmental teams to help their student athletes succeed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the collaboration effort that we have on BroncoPro is tremendous. We have a biweekly meeting where, like we talked about, all those different departments have a representative in the room, where we have a long agenda that we go through and ensuring the success, that everyone feels like they're moving in the right direction. I think another thing that we've done to have success, again, we work to create a plan on how are we going to present BroncoPro to our student athletes this year. We individually met with each of our head coaches to talk through, hey, this is our plan. This is how we're going to go about this. This is the support that we need from you. And it went so well here at Boise State. It was so successful to see. And how we explain ourselves to our coaching staff is that we truly are an extension of the coaching staff. And I think something that I've charged our staff with in talking through just what I've seen be successful in my career is that we have to show up without an ask. So we have to be in the space of practice. We have to be on the sideline at games. Like, we have to be there without needing something. You don't want every time you show up to be, I have this big ask of I need this for you. A lot of it's got to be you show up because I care about you. I'm invested in you as a student athlete, you as a team, you as a staff, what you're doing. Like, I believe in your vision of what you're doing, and I'm going to show up for you just to support you and be someone here that cares about you. And I think from there, like, that relationship building piece, I think is so important with your coaches. I think building the trust to be around, ask questions, be in the space of what they're doing and trying to understand where they're coming from. And again, I think that helps, again, in all aspects of your job, but just understanding where people are at, having those conversations and finding ways that you can help and be a value add. I think our whole department is like, how can we be a value add to the coaching staff, to the student athletes, to their experience here, and providing that excellent customer service. So, I think that's the process. And again, I think that collaborative environment that we have across the board, I've never been in a place where so many people are rowing in the same direction. I truly feel like we have a vision of what we're trying to do, and everyone is working on a daily basis to achieve that vision and the goal of where we're trying to go. And because of that, I feel like we have been truly successful in what we're building through BroncoPro.
And to give you some more props on that last point. That is obvious from the second that you and I talked for the first time. And as we talk more, it's evident that everyone at Boise State is in the same cadence. And that's really impressive. What Now you can this can be from your time at Boise, this could be your time at Western Kentucky and also Notre Dame too. What's like that one moment that you look back on that kind of gives you your why why you keep doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think when shout out to Scott Stansberry and Dr. Radigan at Notre Dame, when they came and said, like, your career, it's time, like you've got to be done. Like, they helped me, and it gives me perspective of like where I was in that moment as a sophomore in college, of just like totally lost of where I was. Like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was a marketing major. I thought I wanted to go work for a big agency in Chicago, and like that was going to be what I was going to do. Like, I never want anyone to feel kind of where I was in that moment of like lost. So like I drive, and every day is like, how can I help these student athletes be as successful as possible during their athletic window? Because that, again, everyone has a window of your athletic success and your athletic influence. And we talk about on a chart, I think I stole it from Jeremy Darlow, that we put up in front of all of our student athletes. And we talk through, like, you have a window of success for your athletic career. You have a window of influence for your athletic career. Like, using NIL, we can grow your personal influence and your brand that can last well beyond your time competing as an athlete. So my why every day is like, how can I help these student athletes grow something that can be life-changing, that can help them get prepared for that next step of life and do whatever they want to do. And using NIL as a vehicle to do that and build a brand and make them have something that they're truly proud of and putting out there. And but no, I think helping this next generation of student athletes be successful in such a new space that there are so many opportunities. I don't think a lot of them truly realize all the things that they can do with NIL. So it gets me excited. No day is the same in this space. I'm sure everyone who works in NIL knows that it looks completely different, but I get up every morning excited to do the different things that I get to do, because it is so different. I never know what it's going to look like, but it's cool, and I love it, and it fires me up to see our athletes have success, and it's exciting to see when it finally clicks and they have those small little wins, and it builds and it builds and it builds. It's been really cool throughout my career to see and celebrate those individuals that I've gotten to work with.
So last question before we move into the kind of the rapid fire questions, but being a former student athlete yourself, what advantage does that give you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives me some perspective of like, how would I have approached this, and how can I connect with these athletes? Again, I'm slowly aging myself out of a range here, but I still feel like as a 29-year-old, I have a pretty good pulse on where these athletes are. And again, I think that goes back to meeting them where they are, like being at practice, understanding who they are, what drives them. Everyone has a different motivation there. I think as a former student athlete, you can relate to these student athletes on the things that they're going through. And I think I have a special perspective to where, like, hey, like, I know, like, exam week is a hard week. Like, we got to pull back on what we're doing there. And it just, like, some of it goes into knowing the schedule, and some of it just goes into like, hey, like, I had the 6 a.m. weights followed by the 9 a.m. practice, followed by 8 hours of school, followed by recovery, and all the things that we needed to do. Like, I did that. I understand what you're going through. And sometimes it just needs to be like them hearing that. It's like, I get what you're going through. I'm here for you. I don't have an ask for you. Again, it goes back to not having an ask. I'm just like, I am your biggest supporter. I'm your team's biggest supporter. Let me help you in any way that I can help you. And I think as a former student athlete, just having some of that empathy for the experience, the different challenges they go through, because it's hard. It's hard to do what they're doing. It's hard to be a champion on the field, a champion in the classroom, and then try to grow a business alongside that in your personal brand. Like, having, I think, in this perspective, and with all the student athletes I've worked with, and then as being a former one, you can give some grace to what they're doing and have some understanding, and meeting them where they're at and understanding what they're going through, while also still pushing and challenging them to be the best version of themselves, and giving them some perspective of like, hey, if I were in your shoes, this is what I would be doing right now, understanding all the other things that are going into the mix too.
That's awesome. Okay, so I want to ask you a couple of lightning round questions as we close up our time here. What's the one tool, software, resource you could not live without as you do your job?
Yeah, Student Athlete Score. Shout out to their team. I think it is the best data solution that I've seen in the NIL space. We use it on a daily basis. Every person we meet with sees it. It is tremendous, the amount of data that I can provide back to a business. Again, if we're going to be data focused, it's black and white. It is what is the results? What are they producing? What is the student athlete? What can they bring to the table? Could not be any higher on what their team has done building that app and the success that it has led to us having in those conversations.
What is your favorite athlete deal that you've seen? Could be one that you've been a part of, one that you've been following on social media. What's your favorite deal that you've seen?
Yeah, I think just looking over the last year, there's probably two that come to mind. One is the RM soap market with Boise State, because it supports such a cool initiative. $1 from every purchase goes back to the special needs community. Kinsey set up that extensive relationship there now where she's fundraising for them. I think it's one of the best examples that I've seen of using your brand to impact others and give back to those in the community. So I love that. And then going back to Western Kentucky, I think one of the ones most proud of was Outback, having over 30 student athletes sign a deal with Outback and Bowling Green. Was so proud of that and the opportunities that it opened across the board for our different student athletes. So those are two really cool ones, of one with a national brand and then one with using your platform to give back in a way.
What's your favorite college sports memory? Either one that you participated in yourself, being a baseball student athlete at Notre Dame, or favorite game you've been to. What's your favorite college sports memory?
Yeah, I mean, I think, man, there's a couple. I've been able to be a part of so many cool different things here. I think one of the coolest ones was, again, the opportunity to commit to my dream school. I'm someone who grew up. I had a Notre Dame bedroom growing up. I had a fat head on the wall that was the golden helmet. I think my parents have been going, I think, for 31 straight years to a Notre Dame game. And it was a dream opportunity to be there. I think that was cool. And then when Notre Dame beat Clemson during COVID at home, I was actually able to be in the stadium for that game. That was a really cool memory for me, and being as a staff member and getting to celebrate through a tough time there. But no, I think the opportunity to commit to play baseball, it was a dream since I was a little kid. There's pictures of me as a toddler with my dad on the couch in a Notre Dame jersey. So I got to live a dream, and not only got to live a dream, got to work at the place that I thought was my dream. And I've been so lucky and blessed for the connections that came through that place. I think I was really lucky there.
That's amazing. Okay, what's your can't miss spot in Boise? Where's the spot that you always tell people that they got to go when they're in town?
Okay, there's been two that me and my fiance have found that really enjoy. Fork. They have. I'm not a big vegetables person, but fried asparagus, I think it's a vegetable. So really good there. And then I've been a really big fan recently of Bitter Creek Ale House, I think is what it's called. So two really big favorites there that I've enjoyed, and then have come around to In-N-Out too. Did not have an In-N-Out back close to where I was in Boise, and I'm in Bowling Green, and I'm a big fan and frequent visitor of In-N-Out.
It's great. Okay, and then lastly, Collin, where can people find you? Where can they strike up a conversation with you?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I think Twitter's, or X is just at Collin Stoecker. On LinkedIn, same thing, Collin Stoecker there. It also have our BroncoPro. I think it's Boise State BroncoPro on Instagram. There with our account showcasing some of the different opportunities our student athletes are doing there as well. So would love to connect with anyone in the space.
Awesome. Collin, thank you so much for joining us, and we really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Go Broncos.
A very special thank you to Collin Stoecker for joining us this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Please follow Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern on LinkedIn and NIL Newsstand on LinkedIn. If you'd like to talk to me, Sterling Randall, You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern on LinkedIn and NIL Newsstand on LinkedIn. You can also check out hpldigitalsport.com or nilnewsstand.com. On nilnewsstand.com, you can find all of our previous episodes. Have a fantastic week, everyone.